They said Mom had Legionnaires and that they didn't expect her to pull through it.
A mid-Michigan woman's loved one went to McLaren Flint for surgery and ended up contracting the potentially deadly Legionnaires disease.
This happened in 2008, 6 years before the city's water crisis. We have long reported on the hospital's connection to the bacteria during that time. Now the CDC is confirming it was present at the hospital well before Flint's water source switched.
That revelation prompting Alexandera Skinner's family to speak out for the first time in an ABC 12 investigation. And Brett shares their experience with the hospital and McLaren's defense.
We first uncovered this 85-page letter about a month ago. It's dated December of 2019, but was never made public. It was sent by the CDC to the state health department and reveals McLaren Flint has been a source of the Legionella bacteria since 2008. A family reached out to us believing that their loved one may have been one of those very first cases.
It was in there over 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Do you know at what point she developed Legionnaire's disease?
At about 2 weeks.
Alexandera Skinner went into McLaren Flint Hospital in July 2008 for surgery due to carotid arteries. Betty McKeever says there were no issues with her surgery. It was during her recovery the fear of losing her mom became reality. McKeever says the 86-year-old developed congestive heart failure and pneumonia, which then became Legionnaire's disease.
They hooked up a humidifier on the oxygen, and it was water bubbling, so it helped moist the air. And I firmly believe that's where she got it.
It's important to note this is not the case reported in the CDC's letter. McKeever says McLaren wasn't forthcoming about the diagnosis and didn't investigate, even suggesting the source of her mother's Legionnaire's disease was at their home.
They wanted to have my sister and I have our water tested, because they figured Mom had to have gotten it from home. And I said, from everything I had read, it didn't take 3 weeks to come down with it. And I said, she's been in your hospital for 3 weeks. I said, she got it here in this hospital.
Again, this was in 2008. The CDC's letter doesn't report another case associated with the hospital until 7 years later in 2015, right in the middle of Flint's water crisis. Ultimately, the state says 52 of the 90 cases during that time were linked to McLaren Flint, but the hospital maintains the city's water source switch is to blame for the presence of the Legionella bacteria in their facility.
Very likely what happened was the switchover exacerbated conditions that were already there.
Tim Keene is a consulting engineer on Legionella. For 2 decades, he's been tasked with identifying issues within water systems, specifically to determine if that system is a source for Legionella growth. He has not personally inspected McLaren Flint.
McLaren already had issues with their water systems when it was audited by CDC that identified temperature issues, circulation issues. So those were all in existence prior to the outbreak.
Keene says there's proof in the CDC's 2019 letter, which details their investigation into the hospital's, quote, healthcare-associated Legionnaire's disease cases. It states the CDC's research uncovered compelling evidence that the same strain of Legionella was at McLaren Flint from 2008 through 2019. McLaren Flint again declined to go on camera about this, instead sending a lengthy statement focused on arguing, quote, there is no evidence in the CDC report of the presence of Legionella in our facility's water in 2008. But the CDC reports water samples taken at McLaren Flint from 2016 to 2019 match the strain found in patients as early as 2008. McLaren Flint's statement also says no investigation was conducted with the 2008 patient cited in the CDC letter, so there's no proof the patient contracted the disease at their hospital. McKeever says the hospital didn't investigate how her mother got Legionnaire's disease in 2008 either.
Do you think that the hospital should be held accountable for this?
Sure. What they put my sister and I through, and my mother, they put her through a lot.
In Flint, Ann Perrette, ABC 12 News.
As a result of the 2019 investigation, the CDC asked McLaren Flint to make a number of changes to prevent anyone else from potentially contracting the deadly bacteria at their hospital. Both the state health department and state licensing agency issued public orders too.
A spokesperson for the state health department says McLaren Flint provides them with quarterly water quality data reports that the state reviews, and quote, no healthcare associated cases of Legionnaires disease have been reported to MDHHS by McLaren Flint Hospital during 2020.